So hi everyone, my name is Alexis and I am joined by one of my youth services colleagues, Amanda, and we are both librarians at the Kennedy branch of Muncie Public Library. And for our Upcycled Crafternoon today, we will be talking about gardening and making origami newspaper planners. So let's begin by talking about vegetable gardening, which is very important because that's our food supply, especially if we think of it on a grander scale in terms of farming. So I've had a garden before, and although I don't currently, except to maybe grow some herbs and tomatoes in containers, Amanda is currently in the process of starting her vegetable gardening. And if you'd like, Amanda, would you like to share how that's going and what you're planning and what types of things you're doing?
Sure. I've got some seeds started in the kitchen for tomatoes and peppers and tomatillos and a bunch of herbs and eggplants, and they're just, plugging along. I also just put some spinach and beets and turnips and onions and green onions in my garden, like in the back part. I do this kind of square foot gardening thing. So I started them in the back so that they can be kind of cover crops. So as I pull them, I can transplant my seedlings back there.
So did you start your seeds indoors? How did you start them?
Well, the ones that I've put out in the garden, I've started directly in the dirt because they are cold weather crops, root vegetables and things like that. But I have tomatoes and things like that I've already started indoors, and they should be ready to go out in about 6 weeks or so.
Okay.
But by then, my spinach and everything will be harvested, and I can plop them in those spots so they can grow.
That's cool. It's a nice way to use your space.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. This is only my second real garden. We tried it here and there, but when we lived in Alabama, it was a completely different story, very different from what I understood of gardening growing up in Indiana. So we were not always that successful. But I mean, we did pretty well last summer. There were some issues, but I feel like it was fairly successful, and it was encouraging.
Yeah. Have you ever tried winter sowing?
I actually did. I had some garlic that had sprouted back in October or November, and some people had mentioned that I should, tuck those into my raised beds. So I did, and I have, like 6 or 7 garlic plants just popping right up.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's pretty neat. It's kind of like a super bonus, like, oh, I forgot I did that. Yay.
Yeah. And for those of you who might not know what winter sowing is, we actually have a colleague who introduced this to me. I had never heard of this. She's experimented with winter sowing this year, and it's basically a method where you start your gardening seed outdoors in recycled plastic containers, and they act as a mini greenhouse for your seeds. So right now she's actually growing cauliflower, broccoli, lettuce, peppers, and tomatoes, and the first 3 have actually started to sprout, and the other ones will start later as it warms up. So, and that's actually kind of the purpose of our craft today. It's to serve for a way for you to start seeds and plant them directly into your garden. So I'm going to actually hand it over to you to demonstrate how to make the newspaper planner. Amanda.
Okie dokie. I'm gonna tilt my camera down so you can see what I'm doing.
Okay, and I'll do it along with you too. And hopefully I don't mess it up.
Hopefully I won't mess it up, because I tried to demonstrate it to my husband earlier and totally messed it up. So
yeah. And Gwen,
it's just folding.
Gwen, if you have questions, feel free to ask, or if you can't see something that she's doing, that she's here to help.
Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a full page of newspaper, like so.
Got my full page of newspaper.
And then you're going to fold it right back along that crease.
Okay.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to fold it up from the bottom.
Does it matter which side? Does it matter which side I'm on, the bottom or the top, or?
Well, you need to have the crease facing your left hand.
Okay.
This crease facing your left, and then this other crease at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay. And then you're going to take this bottom crease and fold it up to the top.
Okay. Gwen, are you doing all right?
No, sorry, I messed up.
Oh
I told you I was gonna mess up.
no. Whoops.
You're gonna, instead of folding from bottom to top, you're gonna fold this crease over here.
Okay. So the actual crease and not where it opens up the newspaper from the side. Okay.
So you'll have a crease here and a crease here.
Okay.
And then, yeah. So, all good?
I'm okay. Gwen, are you okay? If you wanted to say something? Yeah, okay. She's giving a thumbs up.
Okay. So then you're going to take this corner here at the bottom, stick your fingers in the middle and kind of open it up and make a triangle like so.
I think the hardest part of that is making sure like everything lines up, which is, I think, the hardest part of origami.
It is the hardest part of origami. Fortunately, with this, it is not super crucial.
Yeah. Okay, that's good because mine is kind of not straight.
Yeah, no, it's totally okay. So you've got that done, and then you're going to flip it over.
Okay.
And you're going to take the other corner and do the same thing. Just move up.
Okay.
To the middle.
I think I did something wrong because I don't have like the option to fold it out.
Do you have like the bigger or the smaller piece, or if you
I don't know. Origami is confusing. Okay.
That's okay. Why don't you turn your video on so we can see? Do you want to kind of tilt it down?
I literally just have it like the newspaper came. And the train's coming. I don't know, okay?
It's okay. It is totally okay.
We can do this one and then we can do another one and maybe, correct that.
I'll figure it out.
If you want to go on, it's up to Gwen. Gwen, do you want us to go on, or do you want to? Okay.
Okay. So you've got it like this. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take this flap here and move it that way, so that you have like a solid face here, no crease, and then you're going to flip it over and do the other.
You know what? I think I messed up
Do I
too,
need to back
Gwen.
it up?
I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, so, okay, I got it to this step. I think that looks okay, but I've got like this here.
Are you using a full page of newspaper?
I am. Let's see here. So I've got like the.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I fold it.
Okay, so let's back it all the way up.
I'm gonna mute because we do have a train going by. I live by train, so.
It is Muncie, so yeah, trains. So yeah, open it all the way up like so. Then fold it in half. Then fold it in half that way. Yep. Then fold it this way. so you're gonna lay it down so that you have a crease here at the bottom and this one crease on this side. Okay. So you'll take this bottom corner. You see there's a crease here. You take the bottom corner and you fold it up. And you want to line that crease up with the center.
And is that the side that has the actual crease in it, or is it the open side that you're folding up?
It's the open side.
Okay.
So here's the crease. Here's the crease.
Okay.
Here's the open side.
Okay.
And so you.
And then I still have like this when I do that on the bottom. Is that right?
Mine looks like that too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because you're going to flip it over. And you're going to do the same thing, but starting on the other side.
And it's the open crease on the other side.
Right. So you're going to end up.
I still think I have like that little thing at the bottom though.
Yeah. You do. Well, flip. No, take that part. No, that's what you need to take. Is flip it over.
Okay. So I've got it flipped over. This is what I look like on this side.
Okay, so take that side the side that's not. Wait.
I don't know what I did.
Flip it back over.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Okay. Oh. Go back one step.
Okay, so this is, okay. So here's my unfolded, like I've just got it creased down the middle and I've got it creased right here. So this is where my creases meet.
Okay.
And then
so what are you?
And then at that point, I'm taking this here that's open right here, and I'm just like opening it, like opening it. Is that what I'm doing wrong?
You're only taking one page. So like, see here how it's like two separate sheets.
Yeah.
Like that. You need to take them both.
Oh, okay. All right. Can you show how to do it with the both?
Yeah. So you'll have here. You'll have both.
Okay.
And you'll take both and fold them up.
Oh, okay.
Like so then it should look like this.
Okay. I think that may have been my problem.
I'm sorry, I should have explained that more clearly.
No, it's okay. It's a learning experience and I'm not good at origami. So maybe this is a good thing that I'm screwing this up in case somebody else has a screw up too.
Well, I mean, I also messed it up immediately, so. So does it look like this now?
Well, no, because I still have that.
How did you do that?
I'm special like that.
Well, hang on. I'm going to share you the link to the tutorial that I used and see if that helps you. Because maybe I'm missing something when I explain it. Yeah, so I do tend to skip ahead on things because it's like, oh, I know how to do this. It's obvious, but it's not always.
Let's see. All right, so I've got. Well, this is actually saying rip the newspaper in half. So if you're using
Right,
large
and I ignored
paper,
that
okay. So the long side is
because
facing
this is from Europe, and their newspapers are different sizes there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So I just followed the pictures. So it had the open. I don't know if you want to screen share it.
I can. Let's see here.
It's up to you. It just depends on what you want to do for the video.
I am going to screen share it, so just in case, so that we see. All right, so fold it in half, left to right. Fold it again, bottom to top into a quarter size. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it might be a little helpful too if I have the top instead of the bottom facing me. Fold in half again, left to right. Okay.
Well, you need to have you need to have the crease at the bottom.
The crease, I have the crease at the bottom. You. I do.
Towards you. Okay.
Yeah, it's towards me. Now fold the bottom right corner marked with an A in step 4. So that A is not the crease, okay? The crease
it's the bottom right.
Yeah. Mark with an up to the middle along the spine. I kind of wonder if I have to take it all the way to the crease. I think that's what I'm doing because I'm only doing it so that I'm not doing it all the way to the crease. So it's not as big of a triangle. So that's what I'm doing wrong. Okay.
See, we also have a whole lot more paper left above ours than they do because of the different size newspaper.
Okay. So yeah, so it has to fold all the way to the crease as opposed to just like the little bit I was doing. It has to be the big crease. If that makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
It does.
Okay, and then I'll do that on the other side.
Same thing.
Okay, I'm gonna stop my screen share. I might just honestly leave all this in because, you know, it's good to kind of see the metals.
It is. You know, if we were in person, we would have all of this happen.
Exactly. Okay, I think I've got this right now. This is what it looks like. It almost kind of looks like an airplane.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! Good job!
Yay! I feel so accomplished. Okay.
So now you're gonna, so you got this? You're gonna take this side and open it that way.
Okay. So.
And then you're gonna take the other side and open it that way. So that so that those splits are no longer visible.
Yeah. Well, mine probably are because I've folded it in every which way.
But they're not now. See, you can't see it because this is solid, right?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So then just lay it down and get it creased.
I think my planter's gonna be crooked too. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean, mine don't look that awesome either.
I think Gwen agrees that hers is gonna be crooked too.
Yeah, it's going in the dirt, right?
That's true.
It's a temporary thing. It's not, you know, it's not a showpiece. Okay, so you've got it like this. You're gonna fold the edge to the center, like so.
Okay.
So to here. And this is like making a paper airplane. And then you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So
it kind of feels that way. It kind of looked it too.
Yeah, it really is very similar to the same folds that you would use for an airplane. So you've got that, and then you're going to do it one more time. So you're going to take this crease and fold it into the center again.
Okay. Okay, I think I've got it.
And then you do the same thing on the other side. So it should look kind of like that. Very good. And then you flip it over and do the same thing on the back.
Okay. I'm gonna flatten mine out a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think it's coming apart on the other side of me. Okay.
It does that.
Yeah. And I think the great thing about using newspaper too, because they say you should shred newspaper and put it in your ground because it helps feed the worms. I think that's a thing. I think that's why I've heard like you can put shredded newspaper in your ground because it kind of helps feed the worms.
That's really interesting because you can also use it as like a weed barrier.
Yeah, I'd have to fact check that. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like people have told me that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, I think Darwin would agree with you. The worms need all the help they can get.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've got that. So you're gonna fold these flaps down.
Okay. Just halfway, or where is it going to end up?
So that they line up with the top of that fold. You see that fold there?
I think so.
Where your paper, like where you can stick your finger in there.
Oh yeah, so
You're
it's gonna
fold
go there. Okay.
Yeah, and just fold it down. It's gonna be probably more than halfway. Yeah, mine's like that, so it sticks down.
Okay.
And then you do the other side. And you just crease that as best you can too.
I say mine's very lopsided. Okay.
This is your first time making this though.
That's
I mean,
true.
I need like, I don't know, like 5 of these.
Yeah.
So yeah, that looks great. So now you're gonna open it up like so.
At the. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. And then you kind of like poke your fingers down to square out the bottom a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
just a little bit. I mean, you're gonna fill it with dirt, so it's gonna, you know, level out.
So do we do anything
So
with these flaps or?
The flaps are important because they keep it from falling apart, but they're also really large. So a couple things you can do. The site that I looked at suggested that you could like drop them into a neighboring one to link them together, which seems kind of not super helpful for starting seedlings because you're going to eventually take them apart. So that would be not the thing that I would do. But what I've done is I've just kind of cut off part so that you can kind of fold them inside because they're a little too long to fold inside all the way. You can, it won't hurt anything, but they just, you know, you'll just have more at the bottom, which might be good. But yeah, you just fold them in and that kind of locks it all into place. And you fill it with dirt and plant your seeds and voila.
And I imagine that you can use any type of seeds too. It's not like, because I know we're talking about vegetables, but a lot of people like to do flowers and greenery and, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you could plant anything in these. Yeah. And there is some concern in some places, so you might want to check. Generally speaking, most of the newspapers are printed with vegetable-based inks now, but a lot of people are, you know, people are sometimes concerned that there might be toxins in the ink. So always check. And if it's something that you're really concerned about, just use it to plant stuff that you're not going to eat.
And really that has its importance too, because like all those type of plants, they help clean our air. They're any kind of plant. I mean, you don't necessarily want them in your vegetables, but definitely like the flowers and the bushes and that sort of thing. Those are habitats for those, and you want them in your yard, because like say for example the bees are in crisis right now, but there are major pollinators, so we need to take care of them and, you know,
give them the stuff that they like.
Yes. And that actually, Gwen, before we move on, I want to ask you if you need any help with your planter, or are you okay? You're okay. If you want to continue making some, oh, it looks good.
Oh, look at you. Good
Yeah.
job.
She figured
I'm
it
digging your
out.
little, she's got the little Patty Duke flip going on there.
Yeah. I probably figured it out better than I did, to be
Oh,
honest.
you did great.
Oh,
You
thank
did
you.
great.
Thank you. But that actually leads me to my next point is sustainable gardening. And if you guys want to continue making the planters, if you have a newspaper, but I just kind of want to go into it a little bit. Amanda, because I don't know that Gwen's going to want to say anything. Do you use any kind of sustainable gardening in your outdoor garden area? Do you know what I mean by sustainable gardening?
I think I do, but I would like to make sure that we're on the same page.
Okay, so anything that does no harm to the earth while also trying to enhance it. So like composting, do you grow native plants, like native Indiana plants at all? And just like, I guess overall kind of controlling what goes into your garden, like you don't use pesticides, that sort of thing.
Yes, actually we do. We've only been in this house for 2.5 years, so we don't have a whole lot of history with what's in the ground here. And it's, from what I can tell, it's actually very disappointing. Most of the stuff that we have, that we inherited when we bought the house, is non-native. But since we've moved here, we've worked really hard to avoid any kind of non-native plants, trying to find specific varieties of things that would grow in certain areas of our yard that would be beneficial and not harmful or invasive. And as far as our garden goes, you know, last summer we did have some pest problems. We had some caterpillars or cabbage moths or something, and then some cabbage fleas on all of our turnips were just gnawed apart. So instead of using something toxic, what we did was we used a product called diatomaceous earth, which is ground up seashells that you can sprinkle on. It's non-toxic, it's not harmful. Even if your pets ingest it, it's not harmful. But what it does is it makes these little tiny micro cuts in the exoskeletons of these pests, and they dehydrate. So you can use it for fleas. I mean, you can apply it directly to your pets if they have fleas. You can put it in their food, even if they, you know, and it will not hurt them at all. So that's something that's not going to harm the earth at all, and yet give us the benefit that we needed.
And not harm you too. And not harm you too. Because, you know, that old saying, you are what you eat. So really that kind of begins at the food source. And like you did some research and you learned a better way to do the pest control. And that's also not harming the beneficial bugs like the bees and the spiders that kind of eat those pesky bugs. Have you heard of the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 lists of produce before?
I have. I feel like they change kind of frequently, so I don't have them memorized, but I have heard of them.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead
What are they?
Yeah, I'm going to actually share a slide on that. Let me, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. And I will hit play on that. So yeah, here are the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 lists of food. So the Dirty Dozen are the lists of produce that you should avoid and buy organic versus the Clean 15 are the ones that are safer to eat and you can buy non-organic. So this one's actually from 2019. I don't know if it's been updated since then. They might, I feel like they updated on a yearly basis, but I don't feel like it changes too much. But yeah, this gives you kind of an idea of what is considered dirty and what's considered clean. And I can, for those who are watching later, I can include this on a source sheet. So.
And these are, the dirty ones are considered dirty because they might potentially be contaminated with pesticides and herbicides?
Right. Right. And if you kind of notice too, between the two, a lot of them are things that you like eat the skin. So like the apples, strawberries versus the Clean 15 are the ones that kind of have a protective outer layer. It's not everything, but like a friend of mine who's actually really knowledgeable in gardening pointed that out to me when we had this discussion about the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 lists. So again, it's not applicable for everything, but I feel like you can kind of see that comparison in these lists.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and a lot of the ones on the Dirty Dozen list are very delicate.
Oh yeah.
They have like delicate delicate skins, and they're sweet, and they have a lot of sugar, and they're attractive to pests.
Mm-hmm. That, I wouldn't have thought of that. That is a good observation. And then I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. Let's see if I can. Escape. Okay. So you also mentioned that you do have that you've been doing some native plant gardening, right? Have you planted some native plants?
I haven't. I've been kind of
okay.
holding it out. I've been kind of holding off to see what we have and where we have it, because quite frankly, I'm not all that knowledgeable about plants and what's native to the area. And being so recent to the area and to this particular house, it's really hard to tell, maybe from the first or second year, like what's okay and what's not okay. And some things that aren't necessarily native are fine. Some things that are native are not so great.
Right. So. And that might be something you try your hand at, because like native to me, it's, well, one, like it's going to be easier to grow in your environment. So if you're beginning at gardening, but you don't necessarily want to do a vegetable garden, maybe you should try planting the Indiana native plants. Just because their name kind of prefigures that you're going to have an easier time growing them in this environment.
Yes. Yeah, the Indiana Native Plant Society has a lot of really good information. Also, the 4-H Purdue Extension, you can always ask them for help too.
Yeah, and I was actually going to mention them at one point. Yeah, for sure. And that Indian, no, it's totally okay. The IndianaNativePlants.org, is that the website that you were talking about? Yeah, so that would definitely be a good resource. Yeah, that's the one that I found, and they had a bunch of lists of different types of trees, vines, bushes, flowers, anything that you can plant that is kind of native to this region. And you would be doing a lot of good, because they help promote biodiversity, and again, they provide shelter and food for the wildlife that's around here, while also helping our pollinators. And it also means you don't have to mow as much, which I'm always for, because I don't like to mow. And I typically do it because everybody else is allergic.
That's convenient.
I know, it really is, yes. And then maybe composting might be something that you try in the future too? Or is it too intimidating?
It's really not. I mean, we did have kind of an ad hoc compost pile years ago, and that's actually how I knew that those critters, those bugs, would be attracted to sweet things, because we tossed some rotten peaches into our compost pile, and we had so many baby butterflies that year. It was insane. So I mean, that wasn't true composting, but we did give it a whirl. But I think it's a really valuable thing, and if I can work my way up there, I'd be happy to.
Sure. And again, it's a great way to upcycle waste, and it should be used as an alternative to fertilizer, because it enables the soil to retain its nutrients and water. Again, double whammy for environmental benefit. It kind of feeds your soil. It feeds the soil, and so you're enhancing the life of your dirt, and that's kind of how the newspaper planters are going to work. and it balances the pH levels of your soil. So those are just some of the benefits. Again, I can include some sources on how to compost and the benefits of making your own. And then if you look on the flip side of fertilizer, the nitrogen and phosphorus in fertilizer ends up in our surface water through runoff when it rains. And I think we talked about that a little bit the last session too. It leads to depletion of oxygen for aquatic life. And that also gets into our groundwater, and again, drinking water that can cause some health issues. Fertilizer also releases ammonia into the atmosphere, and Gwen probably knows this because she's recently gone vegetarian. I don't know if she did it for the environmental benefits, but a lot of the ammonia in our atmosphere comes from the manure of cows. So, you know, if you cut your red meat, that's not only health benefits for you because that leads to high cholesterol. It's also gonna benefit the environment. But that ammonia releases particulate matter into the atmosphere, and we breathe that, and that gets into the lungs, causing heart and lung issues too. So again, double whammy there for the environment. And I'm kind of hoping if you've come to multiple ones of these events, again, you're seeing how interconnected everything is. So I hope it's enlightened you in terms of thinking about where your food comes from, where your water comes from, and how, like, ecologically, we are all connected. One Mother Earth. We are connected to Mother Earth, and we need to treat her properly. Okay, let me see if I've got any more notes here. Gwen, did you have anything that you wanted to ask about, say? Did you make any more of the newspaper planners?
No.
Okay. All right, well, has it encouraged you to want to try to garden?
I mean, maybe not gardening, but I kind of want to make more planters.
Well, that's good, at least, I guess. Get the seeds started and we can plant them.
Yeah, I made one out of a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper. It's a lot smaller than the newspaper one, but it's probably just the right size to get a little seed started. So if you don't have newspaper laying around, you can use old homework, handouts, things like that.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again really quickly. So if you do want to try gardening, we have a lot of great resources at the library. And you could do it even if you have minimal space. There are a lot of people who do urban gardening. There are people who do balcony gardening. I've done container gardening before, or even if you have like a minimal yard. I don't know how big your yard is, Amanda, but I don't think it's like huge, right? I think you might be muted.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry.
Okay. No, my yard's not huge. I live in Muncie, not too far from Kennedy Library. So, I mean, it's not huge, but I mean, there's some space, but I don't want to use it all for plants. But yeah, I mean, we have the 3 by 4 foot raised beds that did us fairly well last summer for our first shot. So I had just checked this one out yesterday. Grow all you can eat in 3 square feet. I got this at the library yesterday, so I'm hoping to get some more information from this.
And how much would you say, like, from your gardening last year, how much did it feed your family? Just, did you have to buy a lot of produce over the summer, or?
Well, it was a trial and error kind of thing. I ate a lot of it, but my family was not as excited about the baby turnips and turnip greens for breakfast as I was.
Sure.
So I mean, it did not produce that first year as much as we'd hoped, and I chalked that up to user error. We tried to plant too many different things together and hadn't done enough research. So I'm gonna continue forth and learn some more things.
Yeah, and to be honest, there's really nothing like having your own fresh vegetables to eat. Like, I feel like they taste better than anything you get at the store.
So much. It was so great being able to walk out my back door and like pull some spinach or some turnips and chop them up and cook them with an egg for breakfast. I just felt so It was a
Healthy?
small thing. Oh,
Yeah.
no, it felt like such a gift I gave myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, wow, what's ready for me today?
Yeah.
It's just a wonderful surprise. So.
And I will say, like, I would really like to get into flowers, just because I really miss having the smell of fresh cut flowers in the house. I think the cats would eat
Yeah.
them, so I'd have to be careful on that, but I do enjoy having fresh cut flowers in the house.
That is nice. I would like to get some lilac bushes for my yard. That's a home smell for me, a childhood favorite, which we don't have in our yard. But when I walk the dog, I always stop and smell the neighbors, and I'm sure they think I'm weird when I stick my face in their lilac
Aw.
bushes. But I mean, if they have them, they know the magic, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I didn't know you were still gonna talk. I'm sorry. I did not mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
Okay. I was just gonna say though that if you're still having a hard time with these resources that we have at the library, you can ask a librarian. We can see if we can find something better for you. But Amanda had mentioned the Master Gardeners with the Purdue Extension, and then also there's Minnetrista. So those are two local gardening resources that are very helpful. I've actually we've had experience with the Master Gardeners just because we've done a lot of programs with them, and I will tell you that I've seen some of those ladies in the library, and we just get to talking to gardening, and they're always giving me handy little tips on what I can do. So definitely the Master Gardeners are very helpful.
Yes. Yes, and the Purdue Extension has a really great, thorough website with a lot of resources as well.
Okay. And then that's really all I have for today. I just wanted to plug some programs. So during the week of April 19th, it's actually Earth Day is that week. We'll have an adult take and make both at Kennedy and Marion Hunt Library. So if you would like one, you can call and request a kit. It's actually a denim no-sew dog toy, which I need the no-sew because I don't sew very well. And then in May, at the very beginning of May, we're going to have a book talk on Hemingway. It's to commemorate his death anniversary this year. And I don't know if anybody out there has been watching the PBS series. So if that is really of interest to you, I highly encourage you to come to this book talk. Doctors Deborah Mix and Ray Peterson will give a short presentation about Hemingway during the Lost Generation years in Paris during the 1920s. And then we'll open it up for discussion of the book. And then Amanda, did you have anything on the youth services end that you wanted to promote? I think you're still on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, I'm just confirming the date. Sorry, my cat has just hopped up here on the counter, on the table too. On Saturday, April 17th, we are having a neighborhood story time, Mr. Rogers themed story time. And at 6 o'clock, we are having family trivia night. And the topic is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Ooh, I've actually been wanting to watch that again lately, so I think we're gonna have to watch that soon again.
Yeah, and you should come participate because it's gonna be kind of a new family trivia night format. So I'm
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing a little differently, and it's just fun. It's just a fun thing to spend an hour or so doing. So.
That also happens to be my birthday, so maybe I can tell people that, hey, this is what I want to do for my birthday: watch Willy Wonka and go to family trivia night.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
It would be so great to have you guys join us. It's always so fun. And we have, of course, coming up in May, we have all the Star Wars month activities. So keep an eye out for those.
Do you know what you're planning yet? Or are they like, is it just for youth, or is it going to be some family friendly things, or can you say?
Well, I believe that there's a fan live, and there's definitely going to be a trivia night and some story at times and wild and wacky science and maybe a few more things, but I don't think it's all 100% yet. So.
I would have to confirm, but I think the Fan Alive is, they're going to talk about the Mandalorian. I don't think it's just like the whole universe Star Wars. I think it's just the Mandalorian, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Jeanette's going to be on there, and maybe Anthony.
Mm-hmm. I think Anthony and Marie typically do those over at Merring Hunt, so at least to moderate anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's it for today. Thanks for coming, Gwen.
Thank you, Gwen.